There is one thing I wanted to talk about for a while, and that's why, when society reaches a certain point in development, the society starts evolving but backwards. For example, if you take most famous example, which is Korea and Japan, how come that everything was getting progressively better, right? Day after day, year after year, technology, society, safeness, convenience, economy, everything was getting better and better. But how come that once you reach a certain point, your society goes lonely, your society divides between each other, you stop having families, work becoming too stressful, and life as well. How do you get to that point where here is good, here is bad, and here is horrible? How is that even possible? Why is, when we evolve our society, the next step from the good is not the best but worse? And that's something that confuses me. And that happened to a lot of nations. I think even Canada has that problem, but in Canada, yeah, it is kind of the same way. It's because everything is too expensive. Most of the people have to rent just rooms. If you rent a room, you're not gonna have family. Let's be honest. Everyone in debt. You can't really save money. It is pretty bad too. Um, but I just wonder, why do we get to that point? Why is it always like that? Or is there something that countries missing, right? Are we missing like some kind of development curve? Like, is there something you're supposed to do once you reach great level of living? Are you supposed to stop there, be like, that's it, we had enough, like you reach that point, you're like, that's it, no more growing, economy stop, society stop, you know what I mean? Like, is that what you're supposed to do? Are you supposed to just stop growing your country and society at this perfect point so the lifestyle stays great? Because I'll give you another example. Once you go to uh, between countries like obviously Korea, Japan, Canada, UK, and then you go to countries like Thailand, you go to countries like Malaysia, you go to countries like um, India, and all those developing countries, or Philippines too. I love Philippines. Uh, not for what you think I love them, but because great people. Yeah. And once you go between those countries, you can see the difference in the society is quite huge. And the biggest difference is like people and how people get together, because people are so much more warm, more community like in those countries than they're in developed countries. If you go in developed countries, everybody is for themselves. And that feels very, very caveman. There's like there's like thousands of caves, and everybody is a caveman, and they fight for it themselves. When you go to countries like Thailand, again, Philippines, or South American countries, people live in society, people live with each other, and people share things, people share meals, people share memories, and people share everything. But in individualistic countries, people don't share anything. Everybody just try to succeed everybody, and I think it creates a toxic environment. And you only notice that when once you travel between countries where people still society based and individualistic countries. And of course, I understand it myself because I moved to a lot of countries. I understand it too. As a person who lives in South America or in Philippines or in Indonesia or other countries, your goal, if possible, to move to a country where you can get most of education, money, and so on. So you would be moving to Japan, you would be moving to Korea, you would be moving to US, Canada, Europe, and so on. But it's interesting that when you move there, life is better, but it's not necessarily better. Because you get safety, you get some economical benefits, you get healthcare, but in exchange, you lose, I don't know, part of humanity, I guess. because something ain't right the way the modern developed countries are run. Something ain't right about those individualistic societies. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm totally crazy, but statistics says that too, because if you see at the birth rates, the more countries developed, the more countries succeeded in everything, the less birth rates are, the less people get together, the more lonely people are, the more suicides there. And then you go to countries that are less developed, countries that are still, finding their footing and stuff like that. They're here, and people are behaving in a lot more friendly and better way. And it's really really confusing, because wouldn't that make sense that we just grow, and for some reason we just grow, and then we're fucking evolving in some backwards way. Yeah, it's truly fascinating concept of evolution, of countries and societies, that the final step is the fucking backwards evolution or whatever. And I want just add the last thing. A lot of people hate immigrants, a lot of people hate immigration, but if your society reached that point where you cannot have children, people don't get together, communities, there's no communities, you need immigrants, because the reality is you're all gonna get old, nobody's gonna work, and your whole country is gonna fall apart. Immigration isn't a bad thing. The reason immigration exists because you have to balance those things out, because nobody amongst people or government wants to fix problems that lead to that. So instead they invite a lot of people, whether it's talented refugees and that, in order to fix that declining rate. And that's what really strikes me, that a lot of people hate on immigrants while they're essential for country survival and for country growth. Oh my god, sorry for my nose. I think I'm sick. But yeah, so don't hate on immigrants. Just fix your country, fix your system, because and then maybe you don't need immigrants. But otherwise, don't complain, because that's the only way you can run countries like Japan, Korea, US, and Canada, is by inviting immigrants, and so is like every European country. If not for fucking immigrants, your country, in the last, I don't know, 100 years would be here and wouldn't be here, because it brings your countries down when your population goes down. Obviously, population is connected to economics and quality of life, so don't complain about that. But yeah, that's my point, is that in a modern world, because of how things are, it's necessary to have immigration as well, because apparently nobody wants to fix the birth rate issues and community issues and loneliness issues. So yeah, I just want to hear what you have to say, because maybe you know what's happening, maybe you did research, because I read a lot but I don't see exact reason why we get to that point where everything gets worse instead of better once you reach certain point in evolution of country, society, whatever. So yeah, thank you.